people for me was the opening by the counsellor, because that is totally alien to me. You know, for a guy to be so open and honest and want transparency and encouraging the people to have the conversation blew me away.
Everybody in the room today from different parts of the health sector, the voluntary sector and other agencies, they're going to help me deliver good services in Sandwell. Exploitation, you know, all forms of exploitation are really important for the professionals to be aware of. And we've heard speeches already today of victims, survivors, and what they feel needs to be done to address this in the future. So I think this is really important today for professionals to hear.
I think for me today, particularly coming to the conference about safeguarding, how important it is, because with my son, unfortunately he was radicalised in 2015. I was in communication with him throughout that time to obviously find out, like, kind of understand why he'd done that and sort of, you know, to keep that connection with him. But unfortunately he was there for about 5 months and then he got killed. But in that time it was an incredibly lonely and isolating situation that I found myself in, and I had nowhere really to talk about it and understand it. So as a consequence, when he died, I then set up an organisation called Families for Life to support families who had been impacted by extremism.
Today's been about the voice of the survivor, really, and we wanted to focus on exploitation because exploitation is so wide. So we wanted to cover things like criminal exploitation, sexual abuse, county lines, and I think the thing that we wanted to get across was the message from victims and survivors. It's okay hosting a conference and just having professionals speaking, but as a lot of the speakers have said today, you know, how we move forward and how we support victims, we need to know from victims themselves, and I think definitely today that message has come across.
One of the things we need to be careful with around county lines is not discounting children who are being trafficked and exploited within areas as well. So if somebody was running drugs, being exploited to run drugs from one side of Birmingham to the other side of Birmingham, that might not meet the county lines definition, but we've still got children being trafficked and exploited in that way as well. And I think those vulnerabilities take many forms, as they said in the alter ego drama. You know, that could be somebody who has some of the more obvious vulnerabilities that we consider when we're looking at children, you know, around adverse childhood experiences, and where we're looking at children with extreme poverty, children with abusive backgrounds, those kinds of things. But we also see it with children where those vulnerabilities are less obvious. So it might be children where there are some issues with their relationships with their parents at home, or young people who are under extreme pressure at school, or young people who are under extreme pressure to fit in, young people at the point of transition from primary to secondary. Those vulnerabilities that are not perhaps as glaringly obvious as we would traditionally look for.
We've worked on a number of collaborations. We've worked on the CSE superheroes. We've also worked with Protected Behaviours Consortium, and that was an introduction by Safeguarding. And we've attended events. I've got 10 members of staff here today that are like lecturers at college. That's really helpful for them for their CPD. So it's been a good collaboration, and I hope it continues.
For me it's key because we put on annual conferences every year, and you've got a room full of people, you know, 250 people here today, but what are they going to do with it afterwards? And my expectation is that everybody will go away from today and hopefully utilise the learning that they've got today from the conference into practice with either direct or indirect patient and client contact, that they will listen to children, that they'll use their professional curiosity, and they will consider that every child could be vulnerable. And I think the second next step is what we've discussed with Councillor Hackett, is that really we need to have a workshop now in the new year and sort of look at these themes and look at what we can do across the partnership really to make a difference, and that's our next steps.
The most amazing thing about today for me has been the forward thinking in the room, the sort of wealth and breadth of the keynote speakers.
And the other stories.
Yeah, from total different backgrounds, all covering safeguarding.
Rashid's story was very touching for me as a parent, as a mother, and like I could see a lot of them same scenarios leaking into other crimes and stuff, like the knife crime, the gun crime, the sexual exploitation. And I can see there's a crossover between the both. Radicalisation is not just about terrorism. That's something I actually learned today. So I came and actually learned something that I'll take away again with me.
Yeah, I've been to conferences like this, but not where people genuinely care and are passionate and here for the right reasons, and not, oh, they've sent me on a course. Do you know what I mean? People genuinely want to be here.
team, we attend lots of safeguarding conferences in various parts of the country, so we have seen some of these speakers at different conferences, and so we've thought, you know, they'd be really good to come and speak here. We really need some of this in Sandwell. I think it's gone fantastically, and it just really is a testament to the CCG and the safeguarding team that we do this every year, and it's always fantastic.